I think any person, any grown adult that kills a child should do the rest of their lives in prison. So, but see, why that happened to me? It's not fair with the guns out here, the gangs out here.
A boy rides his bicycle down a Bronx street on a warm Saturday afternoon. He isn't looking for trouble. He isn't involved in any argument. He isn't even paying attention to the group of men gathering near a corner store. He's just 12 years old, and all he wants is a ball. Security cameras capture him pulling up to a neighborhood bodega. He parks his bike, walks inside, buys the ball, then heads back toward the sidewalk. Everything seems normal, but just a few feet away, something dangerous is already unfolding. A group of grown men are arguing. The shouting grows louder. People nearby begin turning their heads. Then suddenly, the argument becomes a fight. Punches start flying. Bodies crash into each other in the middle of the street. Customers look on. Pedestrians slow down. Some people move away. Others stay and watch. The 12-year-old boy stands beside his bicycle. His name is Jacob Freytes, and he has no idea that within seconds, his life is about to end. Then it happens. One man reaches for a gun. The weapon comes out, and gunfire erupts. Chaos explodes across the intersection. The security footage shows the horrifying moment afterward. Jacob turns and runs. He clutches his body as he stumbles inside. Employees immediately realize something is wrong. Jacob collapses, right there on the floor. The ball he had just purchased no longer matters. The bicycle outside no longer matters. Now everyone is fighting to save his life. Paramedics rush to the scene. Officers flood the neighborhood. Jacob is rushed to Lincoln Hospital. Doctors work desperately, but the damage is too severe. The 12-year-old boy dies, and an ordinary summer afternoon becomes a nightmare. News of the shooting spreads quickly. Then another heartbreaking detail emerges. Jacob isn't just any child. His father is a retired NYPD detective sergeant, a man who spent years protecting New Yorkers. Now he faces a pain no parent should ever experience. A pain no badge can stop, no training can prepare for, and no arrest can erase. As word spreads through the neighborhood, people begin gathering outside the bodega. Flowers appear, candles are lit, stuffed animals are placed near the sidewalk. Friends and neighbors struggle to understand what happened. Many knew Jacob by another name, Kai. They describe him as kind, helpful, respectful, the type of kid who would help elderly neighbors without being asked, the type of kid who made friends easily, the type of kid who still had dreams.
He was loving, he was just being a boy, coming to get a ball to play ball with his friends. He was just coming to get a ball out the store, that's what he was doing. And kids are nosy, but he didn't deserve that. He was a good kid.
One friend remembers riding bicycles with him. Another says he wanted to play basketball.
He used to be riding his bike back and forth. We used to play the ball, soccer, football. That's a nice memory that I have.
Others simply can't believe he's gone. The bike he was riding that day wasn't even his. A neighbor had lent it to him just one day earlier.
I'm not going to use the pedal bike. My mom offered him to use the other bike.
Now that bicycle sits near a growing memorial, a painful reminder of a life cut short. Meanwhile, investigators begin reviewing surveillance footage, frame by frame, second by second, trying to identify the gunman. What they discover paints a disturbing picture. The shooting wasn't random. The gunfire came during a violent street confrontation, and detectives quickly focus on one particular suspect, a 45-year-old Bronx man with a criminal history stretching back decades. His name is William Ferrer. Police believe he was the one who pulled the trigger, but the deeper investigators dig into his past, the more questions begin to emerge. Questions about prior arrests, questions about violence, questions about how someone with such a lengthy history kept finding his way back onto the streets. And as detectives prepare to move in, a grieving family waits for answers. Because while a suspect may have been identified, justice is still far away. And what investigators would uncover about the man accused of killing Jacob Freytes would make this tragedy even more shocking. As detectives worked through surveillance footage, one image kept appearing. A man standing near the fight. A man investigators believed had pulled the gun. A man whose name was already familiar to law enforcement. Less than 24 hours after Jacob Freytes was killed, NYPD detectives made their move. Early Sunday morning, officers located 45-year-old William Ferrer outside his Bronx home. He was taken into custody without incident. For Jacob's family, it was the first step toward justice, but it would never bring their son back. Police soon announced a long list of charges: second-degree murder, first-degree manslaughter, attempted murder, assault, weapons possession. The charges reflected the violence investigators say unfolded in just a matter of seconds. A fight, a gun, and a child caught in the middle. But as news of Ferrer's arrest spread, another detail quickly grabbed attention: his criminal history. According to law enforcement sources, Ferrer's encounters with police stretched back to 1999, more than 2 decades. His record reportedly included arrests involving drug possession, stolen property, forged instruments, driving while intoxicated, menacing, and criminal contempt. Now many people were asking the same question: how did someone with such a long history end up accused of killing a child? The answer remains complicated. Past arrests do not always lead to long prison sentences. Cases get dismissed. People serve time and are released. Some charges result in probation. Others never lead to convictions. But for grieving residents in Mount Eden, those legal explanations offered little comfort. A 12-year-old boy was dead, and they wanted answers. Outside the bodega where Jacob collapsed, the memorial continued growing. Flowers covered the sidewalk. Candles burned through the night. Handwritten messages appeared beside basketballs and toys. People who had never met Jacob stopped to pay their respects. Because the tragedy felt personal, parents imagined their own children. Neighbors imagined their own families. And many could not stop thinking about the surveillance footage. The image of a wounded boy desperately running for help, trying to make it to safety, trying to survive. Inside the store, workers and customers watched in horror as Jacob collapsed. It happened so quickly. One moment he was buying a ball. The next, he was fighting for his life. The shooting also injured 2 other men. One was struck in the foot. Another was shot in the lower body. Both survived. Jacob did not. That fact alone became the center of public outrage. The intended targets lived. The child died. As the case moved into court, Ferrer appeared before a judge. Reports noted that one of his sons was present during the proceedings, a painful reminder that multiple families had now been shattered by what happened that afternoon. Prosecutors argue the evidence is clear: surveillance footage, witness statements, the sequence of events captured on camera. Defense attorneys will eventually have their chance to challenge that evidence. But for now, investigators remain confident in the charges. Meanwhile, city leaders expressed outrage. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch called Jacob's death an act of senseless gun violence. Public officials echoed similar sentiments. Many pointed to a growing frustration shared by communities across the city. People are tired of memorials, tired of press conferences, tired of hearing about another innocent life lost. Fernando Mateo of the United Bodegas of America voiced that frustration publicly. He said communities keep gathering after tragedies like this, keep holding vigils, keep mourning, and yet the violence continues.
Where is Mondami? Where is the governor? When are they going to come out and say, if you get caught with an illegal gun in New York City, you're going to do 3 to 5 years mandatory? That's what we need. We don't need to hear stats. We have the lowest gun violence in history. We don't want to hear that.
Why did a fight have to turn into gunfire? Why was a gun even there? Why did an innocent child have to pay the price? Those questions may never have satisfying answers. But one fact remains impossible to ignore. On July 25, 2026, Jacob Freytes left home to enjoy a summer afternoon. He stopped at a neighborhood bodega to buy a ball. Minutes later, he was gone. And for an entire Bronx community, that ordinary trip became a tragedy they will never forget. What do you think should be done to prevent innocent children from becoming victims of street violence? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this documentary informative, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more true crime stories and case updates. Until next time, stay safe and thank you for watching.